Hey guys! This is Flirty, Dirty, and Bookish. Welcome to the dark side.
Listen if you dare.
Are we ready for some family bonding?
Welcome to Colorado!
Welcome to a cabin in the middle of fucking nowhere.
Although, we don't start there. You actually meet Tiernan first, and Tiernan is from California. And this book starts off
with a bang.
Right in the depression zone. Yeah. Tiernan's parents, who have never cared about her, have themselves. And, yeah. That's big. But she never really had a relationship with them, so she's not upset about it. So you're not sure how to feel as the reader. Like, you're kind of like,
yeah,
do I care that they're dead? Like, am I supposed to care?
Well, also, too, like, they themselves, I didn't want to really say it, because is it her mom?
Her dad has cancer.
Her dad was sick, and her parents can't live without each other. And
but they can leave their 17-year-old daughter behind, so.
Well, they only had the kid. They only had her because they just felt like that's what you were supposed to do. And they just loved each other so much.
But they did not care about the kid at all, clearly. But
it's so
yeah,
fucked.
so
I don't want kids, but I don't think I could ever do that to my kid if I had one.
No. But also, it was so fucked up. And then the only person who's really ever cared about her entire life, because she doesn't have grandparents, she doesn't have any other family around.
Well, she did have grandparents, but their parents.
She says she doesn't remember them.
Well, yeah.
They all died when she was like a baby, so like she didn't really have grandparents. She's always grown up with just her parents around, because they had her later in life. They didn't have her super young.
Yeah.
And yeah, so she has her mom's assistant is the only person who's really ever cared about her. But even then, she's not like overly close to the mom's assistant because she's been away at boarding school and she's really only home in the summer. She barely comes home for breaks.
Her only point of contact with her parents was the fucking assistant.
Well, yeah, she'd like walk into the room and try to talk to her parents, and she wasn't there. Yeah. So anyway, so you're kind of just like, I don't give two fucks that her parents are dead.
No,
like,
I didn't care at all.
And then there's this, like, she's not sure how she's feeling either, and there's this, like, tire swing outside that, like, you would think would be, like, reminding her of her childhood. Well, it does, but it reminds her of her childhood because she used to watch her parents use it all the time, and they never let her, like, be a part of, like, that time. And so Mariah, her mom's assistant, literally goes inside and cuts it down. She's like, fuck this shit. Yeah. Like, I'm cutting it down. No more.
Well, she's staring at it, right?
Yeah, she's just staring at it, and she goes, fuck this thing, and she, like, cuts it down. And anyways, you're kind of just, like, left there, and you're like, I mean, I feel like a lot of people now who go to read it, they kind of have an idea of what's gonna happen to her, but if you read it, like, when this book first came out, you're like, okay, well, what the fuck's gonna happen to her? Like, now everyone knows she's going for some family bonding time. But anyway, so she gets this call, and you're like, okay, well, obviously she must have family somewhere. Well, she does, but she barely knows them.
Well,
and barely knows, she's heard his name.
Brother, and she knows that her dad has a stepbrother that he but never hated.
They don't get along, whatever. And he offers for her to come there, and she's like, well, what the fuck else am I gonna do? Kind of vibe.
Wasn't he? No, he was
the person on the wheel for her to go to. Yeah. But he said, I will, like, let you get emancipated. Like, we've never met before. Like, if you don't want to fucking come here, then you don't have to come here.
And she's also 17.
Yeah, which you're forced to go to a guardian unless you get emancipated at that age. But he's saying that, like, I'll help you get emancipated if that's what you want. Like, I'm not going to make you come here.
Yeah, also their way of living is kind of...
Well, he's a lot different. Well, he's thinking of her parents, the last people that he saw, like, from that life. He grew up in that life, and he's like, I doubt you're going to want to be here in the middle of the woods somewhere, but... I'll put the offer out there. Yeah. And then she takes it. She has nothing better to do.
Well, I was like, oh my god. like obviously she was gonna take it. That's how the whole book happened.
Yeah.
But like when I was actually reading it, I was like, oh my God, like think about that. Like how scary that would be. Losing your parents and then going to a complete, not complete stranger, but a pretty much a
Pretty much
stranger's
a complete stranger.
house.
You just know he's related by marriage somehow.
But when you think about how
So
she grew up,
scary.
she didn't lose her
Yeah.
parents. She didn't lose her parents like if our parents died tomorrow.
No.
Yeah.
She lost strangers who she
She
got her
lost the
DNA
people that
from.
paid for
All
shit.
she's all she's doing is going from one stranger's home to another. She doesn't know her
Yeah.
parents. Her parents didn't know her. So really, what is she doing that's so different from the life she grew up in? She's not. She lived with
Living in
strangers.
Colorado. Just
Yeah.
That's the
living.
only difference. She's
Yeah.
just changing
Free
her
man.
scenery.
Yeah. And you know what
She's
though? Even if like what happened like didn't happen, I think it would have been good for her regardless because she like well one the PR shit 'cause her parents were famous and then there was this whole like fucking
yeah.
paparazzi and shit were outside of her house so she should have gotten away. But like it's good for her to experience boarding school and everything paid for and not like having like
Yeah.
rules or anything or anybody that gives a shit about her. Like even like say the whole shit didn't happen and she went there, it would have been good for her as a person.
Well, even she said she wished she had to spend summers there or something. It's not like her parents wanted to like spend the time with her. Like when
Yeah.
she gets to know them, she's like, why didn't they just send me here in the summer? Like,
Yeah.
Jake hated them, but he doesn't hold anything against me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Which
no, it
good
was
for
good for her. I
fucking
mean,
Jake because Jake could hate
I
her easily
he
because of
could, but I think hating someone because you hate someone's parents makes you a horrible human being. But so if he had hated her, I never would have liked Jake. I don't
fair
think that you can hate a child
for something their
just because
parents
you
did.
dislike their parents.
Mm-mm.
If
Yeah.
people who do that should burn in hell. But anyway, that's just my opinion on that fact. But
Well, it's not
so
what the
I
fucking
mean,
kid do
if
to you.
Jake, yeah, exactly. The kid didn't do anything. The kid was born. Is that your problem? This child was born. It'd be like I don't understand when people hate children of serial killers. They didn't ask for that to be their parent.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what do you like? You can't blame them unless they were a part of it. Like,
Yeah.
you can't blame them. So, like, if Jake had hated her, I never would have liked Jake. I would have had a very big problem with Jake. But he doesn't because he's, a good person who can separate.
He just had like
He can separate them
misconceived notions on who she was
on
as a
her
person.
just because, and
Mm-hmm.
that had nothing to do with her parents. That had to do
He
with
just made
he
false
grew up that way.
he
So
made
he's
false
like,
assumptions, yeah.
yeah, because he grew up that way. So like it wasn't like he was making assumptions based all on magazines or anything. He was just making them from his own life and his
Yeah.
own experiences. And it never made him hate her. It just made him be like he would make jokes and stuff sometimes, but it wasn't like, "Oh, you like I'm making you hate
Yeah.
living here. Like I want you to go home."
Yeah. Do you
So,
have anything that would work here? Like this is very different than like what you grew up. Like are you if you hate it,
you
let me
sure you want to be
know.
here? Yeah, but he like was still offering her for to be there, so it wasn't like a situation where you can tell he's like blaming her for what her parents have done. It was more just like you grew up way different, so like let's see how you like work here.
I
If you
think he
don't want to stay
also
here, you don't
he
have
also
to.
felt really fucking bad for her.
Well,
Because
once
he's
he
like,
like
yeah, my
you could
piece of
kind
shit
of
fucking stepbrother. Of course he would do that.
I think that was the only thing there I was like, Jake, shut up. Because, like, as much as, like, because
Yeah.
at first she didn't talk about her parents and her relationship with them. She was very quiet. She was very closed off about it. Because she was used to no one listening to her. She's not going to open up about it. And I think that was the
She
one
just
thing
assumed
where
they
I
didn't
would,
care.
that was the one thing where I'd always be like, Jake, like, shut up. Like,
Shut your
stop
fucking
talking
pile.
shit about her dad to her. Like, I also can't stand
Mm-hmm.
people like that. So I'm like, stop. But he figured it out eventually. And, like, that was fine. Like, if you can figure your shit out, then we're cool. But I was like, you can't, like, you can hate her dad. And if she brings it up to you and wants to
Well,
rant
that's
to you,
exactly
you
what I
can
was
rant
about to say.
back.
If she's being there like, fuck my dad, he'd be like, yeah, fuck your dad.
Yeah.
No,
But,
literally,
like,
but
when it first started, he was very much, he would make, like, comments about her dad. And she's like, can you, like, stop? Like, he still was my dad.
Yeah.
And I don't know you yet. Like, I don't want it, like, like, if you
And she
hated him
didn't
so
know
much,
what
why am I here?
happened. She also didn't know
Yeah.
what happened too. So she's like,
So it's like,
why the
come
fuck
on.
do you hate my dad so much? What the fuck did he do?
Yeah, and I mean, she was in her own head. Like, I mean, I could see why someone would not get along with my father, but she was also like, but he is my dad, and we just met, and he just fucking died. Like, I may not
Yeah.
know how I feel about it, but I don't want to hear you talk shit about him.
Yeah.
And at least Jake figured that out eventually, because me and Jake also would have had a problem if that continued.
Jake
But he
is
figures it
so
out.
hard-headed.
Yeah, it takes him a minute to like
I'm
realize,
just like,
ooh, maybe I shouldn't
Mhm.
have said that, or maybe I shouldn't have done that. And it takes him like every time he does something, it's like 5 chapters later, he's like, oh, maybe that wasn't right. I'm like,
he's
yeah,
like
maybe not.
caveman. He's a
Yeah.
he's like a fucking caveman.
I
A
mean,
boy
you have to be
is.
to randomly find a plot in the middle of nowhere, Colorado, and then just never leave.
Built a house
Ever.
on top of a fucking hill and said peace out for 8 months
That
because it
gets
snowed the
snowed
fuck
in
in.
every
Yeah.
winter from freaking November all the way to April. So yeah, you gotta have screws loose are going on up there. But um I think
100%.
also, I mean, yes, she had to work on like the property and she had to like, help out, but um still wasn't like that much of a different life from like back home. Like she was still sheltered, but in a different way.
Mm-hmm.
She was like kept away from other people. She was with them. She was sheltered. Like, like she like had to help out around the house, like chores and like go and do this with the horses or
Don't
whatever.
talk to this
But
person.
like,
Don't talk to
yeah.
that person. Like,
But they still had like no like money worries or anything like that. That was never a point in the book where it was like, oh, we're like short on like we have to do this. We're short on cash. No, the only reason they were hunting for food wasn't because they were poor. They were just hunting for food because
I couldn't
he
get to the
can't
food.
drive anywhere in the middle of winter. But they have money, so she still kind of never lived a life
they
without
had
money.
they
I mean,
had
they probably did
money,
in the
not
beginning.
nearly as much
Well, I mean,
as her
obviously, her
parents,
parents are celebrities,
and
but
they had to work
Yeah.
their asses off in order to not be able to work for those months that they're snowed in. So
well, they
like,
do work those months. But they like, well, they work on bikes and they work bike commissions
well,
because the bikes get shipped out the moment April hits. You pay
yeah.
for most of that stuff up front, but
Yeah, but
yeah,
that's what I mean. Like they
yeah,
Yeah.
they
They're
work all
fine.
winter, but they're not like seeing anybody all winter, which
but
is a
think
problem.
about it though, like
So crazy.
they're not working nearly as much as they would if they weren't snowed in
No,
the
no,
entire
of course
time.
they're not working nearly.
So
I mean,
they
well, to
work
be
way
honest,
more when they're not.
they're probably working more because you're stuck there and you have nothing to do. You're probably actually working a hell of a lot more. They're just not shipping stuff out as much as they would during the rest of the year because they can't because of the snow. But they probably work more in the winter than they do the rest of the year because there's nothing else to do.
Yeah.
You're kind of stuck there. You may as well work the whole time
But
so you
there's
don't
only so
bore
much
yourself.
space and so many things you
Yeah.
have, right? Like honestly,
They'd have to pre-order everything.
by the time like February comes around, they're probably like, okay, there's like 2 bikes left for 2 months. Like
Yeah. But I mean they go and they hunt and stuff and like they do other stuff in the winter, but
but
Like
yeah,
run
no, but
away.
I mean like
yeah.
things that make them money.
Yeah. Yeah. Which yeah. But anyway, so that's kind of that whole part of it and then she has to like start living there with them and you're kind of like, okay, well, I'm pretty sure on the phone he said he had 2 sons, but like we're talking you read for chapter after chapter after chapter and you're like,
Where
it's
the
still
fuck is the
just
other
Uncle
one?
Jake and Noah. Where's the other one?
I love
Like, I love you,
Noah.
Noah.
I
I
love
love
Noah.
Noah. He's so fun. But you're kind of like, didn't he say he had? Like, how has she not run into him yet?
Or
And all
asked
Noah
about
had
him.
said is, he's in. And that's it. He just said, he's in. How are you supposed? I thought the entire time that he was
What?
up in the attic. I thought he was in his room in the attic because they said he has the top floor. When you say you're in, I'm just assuming he's barricaded himself upstairs and he's been there the whole time. And I'm like, wow, he really doesn't have to come out of that room. Does he have like his own kitchen up there? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden he shows up and you're like, oh no, you were in the woods this whole time. The woods. You were in the woods. And you're just like, okay, and he's shirtless and bloody and has a deer wrapped around his neck. A buck, actually, because it was male. And you're just like,
Big ass fucking deer.
Okay, and she's like literally in that moment was thinking of running away. Like she was over Jake making comments about her dad. She was over this, over that. She's like, I just want the fuck out of here. She was over Noah telling her what to do. She's like, I want out. I'm going. Like I'm leaving. And she came downstairs to grab all her shit to leave. And now Caleb's there and just like, and then he like ends up with her pinned against the car and is like trying to fuck her. He hasn't said a word. He's just grunted and is covered in blood and like. I knew in that moment I had something I knew in that moment I had something mentally wrong with me because I immediately fell in love with Caleb and decided he was my favorite right then and there.
I do love him, and he's also probably my favorite. But you can have him. But yes, I agree.
But that's when I realized there was something wrong with me because I'm like, why? This exact moment, he's just walked in and he's acting like actually like a feral animal. And I'm like, that's my man. That's the man I want. What's wrong with me? I don't know. Anyway, but like the Noah comes down, whatever saves her.
Do you want to talk about your theory of what the book's based off of, or do you want to wait till the end?
Oh, we'll wait to the end so that I can really get into it because we need to speak about the ending of that scenario. But I have a very good scenario for what this book is, okay? And you'll understand when we get there later, but
there's two.
Trust me.
There's two.
You'll agree with me. You'll agree. Everyone will agree with me because I'm right. So, yeah, and then you're kind of just like, okay then. And then she's like, obviously not going to stay down there with the fucking crazy person and pack her shit. So she goes back up to her room and is like, fuck this. And never packs to leave because that's made her decision that she's staying.
I mean, but...
But you're just like...
I never really understood why it was like, I'm going to get attacked by this feral man covered in blood and like sexually assaulted, but I'm going to stay in the house he lives in.
But like, not only that, Noah's like, oh yeah. If he finds a woman the moment he comes back from the woods, he does this every time. And I'm just like, how often do women just wait in the garage in case he comes back from the woods? Although in this house, I wouldn't be surprised because at this point we've already had multiple women coming out of Noah and Cade's rooms. Or Noah and Cade. Jake. Noah and Cade's. Oh my god, I said it again. Noah and Jake's room, they're just like coming out all the time. So it's like, well, I mean, I'm sure one of them goes down to the garage and waits and just waits to see. Could you imagine just a woman just sitting there on the car just like, well, I hope he comes home tonight, or I'm sitting here for no reason. I work tomorrow. I really should go home and get some sleep. But, like, what if Caleb shows up in the next 5 minutes? But he might not. He likes to go to the woods for long periods of time. Like, goes through why? But Noah says
this of him.
But Noah says this happens all the time. It just happens all the time. It's what he does. And it's like, but what woman is sitting there just like, I should have brought a coffee down.
I want a man that does not speak, covered in blood, shirtless, and is carrying a dead animal to come and...
I'm not questioning that part of their sanity. Because then I'd have to question my own. But I am questioning the waiting for him because you never know when he's going to come back and just sitting there. Like, what do? You just sit there and you're like sitting on the washing machine like...
Honestly, they fuck the brother and fuck the dad while they're waiting for the son.
Well, exactly. But then Caleb could show up at like 4 a.m. and you've already been kicked out of Jake's room like 5 hours ago. So what are you doing? You're sitting down there like, maybe I should have brought a coffee down on my way down. It's a little cold in here. Maybe I should have put my pants back on. But it makes this easier for him. Like, what is
only in Colorado at the peak.
But they say that this happens. So clearly, I would love to interview one of these women. I know they aren't real, but I would like to know. If we could have a little novella, could I write it? What?
You would be that woman. I think that's why you want it so badly.
No comment. Anyway, okay, so at first it's a family, kind of bonding, but not really, because Caleb wants nothing to do with this after she shot him down in the garage and then found out, oh, that's my step-cousin.
No, Noah barged in.
Well, exactly. But she was shooting him down the whole time, and it was like, and then Noah's like, that step-cousin, bro, step-cousin. Like,
the emphasis
happens often
in this show.
Oh, you gotta put the emphasis on the step, or else it just sounds wrong.
No, not once did they ever go, she's our cousin. She's our
They did to Terrence.
Yes.
They did one time to Terrence because they just wanted him to fuck off.
Each other is.
Oh, they never once said
cousin. Jake is like, this is your step.
Yeah.
Cousin.
Unlike a book we're going to talk about soon here, they just say brother sister. They're not biologically related, I promise, but they are adopted into the same household.
From toddler age.
No, she was 5, he was 8 when he was adopted. She was a toddler when she was adopted, but he was much older.
But
still, so the brother-sister thing needs to go away. Yeah, but he always liked her. When you go back into it, so you're kind of like, oh, it's fine. But if they could just stop with the brother-sister, like, stop calling each other that. I'm gonna vomit in a corner.
Yeah,
you know? It's like, but anyway, at least they emphasized,
they emphasized
T-Rex. Like, what is this? Anyway, at least they emphasized that they were step-cousins a lot. Wow, what's going on with the hand movements today? I should shit on these things. Anyway, spit on that thing. I'm so sorry. Have you ever seen, sorry, real quick, have you ever seen High School Musical? I mean, of course you have. Who hasn't? But you know Sharpay when she's like, mock, 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 ooh, ooh, mock, mock, mock. I do that before we start these. It gets some of the jitters out, but then I still become this, like, insane human being. So don't put me in front of a mic and a camera if you don't want me to be a crazy person. No, people, this is not fake. I do act like this in reality.
Uh-huh.
And they choose to be friends with me. So, that's their own fault. What happened? Oh, did your light die?
Yeah.
Trying to find the plug. There we go.
So many cords. You guys should see this. This is plugged in. My computer is plugged in to an extension cord to the wall. Then this is plugged into that.
Fancy.
Yeah, no, we choose to be friends with you because it's free entertainment.
Yeah, it is. It really is free entertainment. Not a lot of people get to see this side of me. To a lot of people, I'm just the person that sits there quietly like this.
And now the whole world gets to witness Kylie
is a crazy person. I'm crazy. It's fine. Any hood'll do. Anyway, so speaking of the bear named Caleb, well, like, he's so fucking weird, bro. Like, they have breakfast the next morning, and she's like, how many pancakes do you want? Says nothing.
Well,
she's like, she doesn't expect him to speak. She's kind of picked up on, okay, he has to talk like Noah said. So she said, like, he could put up fingers. Like, that's all I need. You know, show me the number. Like, how many pancakes do you want? It's not our question. Anyway, so she's making their breakfast, whatever. So then when she goes to set the table, doesn't put a plate for Caleb.
Assumes he doesn't want anything.
You don't want any. So then she goes to sit down. Caleb takes the plate of pancakes, puts 3 on his dad's plate, 3 on Noah's plate, takes the plate, douses syrup on all the other pancakes, and just starts eating off that. And Jake's like, bro.
But, like, they kind of just let him.
Well, Jake kind of just, like, it's like, oh my god. So he gives his plate over to Tiernan, takes the empty plate, and starts trying to steal some from his bear of a son. Like, give me some of those freaking pancakes. And then she's like, you know what? I'm not hungry. And she walks away. She's like, I'm not hungry. Like, I'm not sitting here and eating with this fucking psycho. And it just kind of continues like that. Caleb's, like, always doing something that, like, just slightly, like...
He's just a dick to be a dick.
Yeah, but it's not, like, anything, like, super mean either. No. It's just these really weird things. And the weirdest thing... Well, one of the weirdest things is when Noah is... Okay, so... They work on dirt bikes. That's what they do year-round, and that's what they're able to work on in the winter when the snow hits, because they can work on their, like, orders. Motocross bikes, like this stuff. And Noah rides them. I mean, they all ride them, because that's how they get through certain parts of the woods. But Noah competes. And so Noah's friends with all the motocross guys in town. Well, they all come up to the house to go for a ride, and you can kind of tell one of them is like into Tiernan. She's seen him in town before,
Yeah.
whatever. And his name's Terrence. But anyway, his name's Terrence. And Noah's like, why don't you come with us? Like come with us. Like, come have fun, whatever. He'll put her on the back of, Noah will put her on the back of his bike. It will be fun, whatever. And she's like, you know what? Yeah, sure. Like, I'll go. Like, I have nothing better to do. Jake's like, yeah, go. Like, go have fun,
Might as
whatever.
well try and, like, get along.
Do something.
Yeah.
Because they won't let her go hiking on her own because she can't protect herself. So they're like, just,
Which,
well, she can. She's shown them she can shoot a gun, but she refuses to shoot an animal. So, like, you're not, no, go, like, stay in sight line. So, anyway, so...
Isn't she vegetarian?
And you think it's fine. No, she's not a vegetarian. She just, the idea of shooting Bambi really upsets her, which, to be fair,
oh my
same.
God. I have my own personal fucking story about that. Okay, this side note. Speaking of shooting Bambi, when I was younger, my uncle, 2 uncles, my cousin, and my grandpa went hunting. And then I got a picture of dead deer. My uncle sent it to me, and he goes, found Bambi with a fucking bullet hole in it. I'm like, traumatized.
Yeah, that's not funny.
Nope.
Nope.
I was like, oh, okay, thanks.
Yes, we got off track here.
Okay.
Anyway, so she's like, yeah, I'll go with you, whatever. And Caleb's standing there. And this is probably one of the weirdest things he ever did. And he, like, walks up to her. And he's always mean to her. He hasn't said anything nice. He hasn't done anything nice to her, I should say, because he doesn't talk. But he goes up to her, and this is the closest to speaking he's ever been. And he's like...
He's communicating.
He points at her chest, goes... And then points to the house. Like, you're not going? Go in the house. And he does it over and over again until she's basically crying, is like, fuck this, and runs away. And I was like, wait. And she's like, no, I'm fine. Like, I don't want to go. And it's like, Caleb, what was that? Like, it was so weird.
Why do I have this weird-ass memory that he steals her underwear out of the dryer?
We're like 98% sure that happened. She never was able to recover the missing underwear.
Okay.
They've never been recovered. They're just missing. He did take something else.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. But anyway,
perfect.
So, yeah. So anyway, she's like, fuck this. They all go off. Jake's in town doing something else, and that's why he told her to go. So she's like, fuck this. They don't want me to go. Whatever. I'm going to take a shotgun, and I'm going to go hiking. They can suck my fucking dick. So Jesus Christ. I'm fine. Anyway, and she's like, I'm going hiking. So she goes off into the woods, whatever. She goes the trail that Jake had previously showed her, whatever. She finds her way to this lake. Cool. And she's swimming so in it.
Cool and so, like, nice in the summer.
And she's swimming in it and whatever, and all is fine until Terrence shows up. Well, now Terrence is, like, flirting with her, and she goes, like, what's the harm? Like, it's, like, whatever, like, have some fun. Like, it is what it is.
He didn't seem too bad.
No.
I mean, she kind of was like,
he was kind of like a sleep
I'll sleep with him.
Like,
yeah, she was whatever. Like, fun for the moment, whatever.
Exactly.
And then they hear 2 more dirt bikes pull up from behind her, and it's Caleb and Noah with shotguns now threatening Terrence. And they're like, get your fucking ass out of the water, Tiernan, get over here, get on the bike with Noah. Like, we're going. So Noah and her get on the bike.
I never really understood why they hated him so much.
I don't think they hated him so much because Noah hung out with him.
I know.
But, like, they
just the way
hated
that they, like,
the idea of her with him.
Yeah.
Right. But it was just
Which
like,
yeah.
I was like, you guys are going a little far.
Yeah. But anyway, so they shout or whatever, they get her on the bike, and then she, like, turns halfway around on the bike and sees that Caleb's still standing there with the shotgun, just staring at Terrence. And then whenever her and, like, Noah go home, and then Caleb comes home and he's, like, all bloody and busted, and then everyone's mad at her, and she's like, what the did I do? And then they're, like, telling her about Terrence and how he has this, like, roster of girls he'll date, and he has this whole board and whatever. And she goes, okay, could have had a conversation, but no, you guys had to be crazy with freaking
maybe I want to be on that fucking board. Leave me alone.
At this point, she's like, yeah, maybe I want to be on the fucking board, whatever. And she goes to her room, whatever, and, And then it's kind of like, and he like had a cut on his chin or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And then she comes kind of back down and she has this like weird moment in the kitchen with Jake, and you're like, what is going on? Like,
this is when shit kind of started to get a little.
And you're kind of like, oh, her birthday hasn't even hit yet. We're gonna hit it.
How much older are the boys? Caleb's 24.
Right? Not even that much older. I think 23, 21. 23, 21.
Early
something
20.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're like, okay, well, like, you're like, okay, sure, that's happening with Uncle Jake, who's like really not that old. He had his kids young. He's like in his late 30s, but you're kind of like, okay.
No, he's 40.
Well, is he 40? But like freshly 40. What is he not?
Babe,
he's gotta be.
If Caleb was 23, if he was 17 when he had him, he's 40.
Yeah.
So he's like early 40s. Yeah. He's like early 40s. But like hot early 40s.
He's a MILF. He's a MILF.
It's fine. Dilf. He's a MILF? I was aware he was a woman.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, so like weird shit's going on in the kitchen. And it's like, okay.
That happened.
Happening. Yeah. Anyway, and then the next morning, whatever, she's outside working and she's kind of like, it's kind of like awkward with her and Jake. You're not sure what's happening. And then Caleb's like over there and he's like chopping wood and he keeps going like this. So now he's like fucking blood like everywhere. And
just fucking like, rabid animal.
And literally a rabid animal. He's shirtless. He keeps going like this even though he has a cut there. So there's blood everywhere. And Jake's like, I have to go into town. Can you please go and like bring the first aid kit to Caleb? Can you please go and deal with like
he's going to treat my
and she's
fucking
like, you want me?
Son.
She's like, you want me to go talk to him? He's nothing but mean to me. You want me to go up to him?
He's kind of fucking crazy.
Like, okay, so whatever. She like helps him clean out. She's like, you need to put like polysport on this. Like, you know, it will help it heal.
I just picture him sitting there like grunting and like,
He's kind of like, he's like twitching away from her, like, and she's like, Kate, like, hold on. And then he like, you can kind of see that he trusts her weirdly though, because he's like letting her do it after a while and he's like not moving anymore. And you're kind of like, okay,
like
maybe he's
fucking
like warming
dog.
up. Yeah, you're like maybe he's warming up to her. It's my dog. You're like, oh, yeah, oh, he's warming up. Like, okay, cool, we're getting there. Well, anyway, and then like they all go.
Not real.
No, and then yeah, and then they're all like, you know what? Let's take Tiernan to this lake, this different lake, and go fishing and stuff because like snow's gonna hit soon. Let's get this stuff out of the way because it goes from hot to snow real fast there. Anyway, so like, let's go do this. So they like go, whatever, and her and Jake have a moment. Then she runs away from Jake and dives into this cave. And then in the cave, she finds this woman coming out and she's bleeding. And Caleb walks up behind her and she's like, oh my, did she hurt Caleb? Meanwhile, while she was in this cave, she was getting herself off to ideas of Jake. So it's like, oh, okay. And then Caleb comes out and then he kind of looks at her and she kind of looks at him like, what the fuck? And then he just dies and swims away and she's just sitting there like, and then they swim out and they like go to leave and like whatever and they're like going away.
Looks not real.
What was this? And anyway, they swim away. No, I know, it doesn't feel real at all. Anyway, and then she goes to swim out, and then they're like, we're going, there's this, like, last-minute race, let's go! So then they go, and then she's, like, sexy dancing with that girl that, like, was bloody or whatever, and then Jake and them are all mad at her for sexy dancing with a girl because everyone's looking at her, and they're like, fuck this, you're going, so they throw her in the truck, and the guys all have girls with them, and she goes, what the fuck is this? This is bullshit! I can't talk to a guy, but you guys can have all these women with you. And they're like, yeah, well, blah, 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 blah. Anyway.
Caveman.
And then literal caveman. And then, like, weird shit happens with her and Jake again, but nothing, like, really, truly happens, whatever. And it's just kind of like, oh my god. And it keeps, like, kind of going like that until her birthday finally hits.
Finally, this bitch turns 18. I swear to fuck, it took, like, 2 years.
Before her birthday, she did have to go back for, like, her parents' funeral and stuff. And, like, they, like, asked if, like, they wanted her.
About her parents.
Actually, she had gotten into a fight with, like, Caleb. just before going to this funeral. So when she left for the funeral, everyone thought she was going to stay gone. And Noah's sulking, even Caleb's sulking, and Jake's in a mood and like bossing the boys around. And Noah's like, fuck this fucking sucks. Tiernan's never coming back, blah, blah, blah. Like, because she's been gone for a few days, they haven't heard from her. Lo and behold, they're like sitting there grumbling at the breakfast table, all fucking pissed off, like the feral ass animals they are. And Tiernan's like, good morning. And she just walks down the stairs and they're like, when did you get here? Like, when did you get home? She goes, my flight landed in the middle of the night. I took an Uber back here. I've been asleep the whole time. She's like, what's wrong? Do you guys want breakfast? And they're all like just in shock. And you're just kind of like, wow, you guys really thought she wasn't coming back.
And like, they were like, maybe you guys want to change the way you fucking treat her. Noah, you're fine. Jake,
it was, yeah. I mean, Noah's a little possessive, but other than
Noah's
that, like,
a little
whatever.
Possessive, but it's different.
Yeah.
He's like older brother protective.
Oh, don't say that.
But you know what I mean, though?
I would say like older guy best friend protective. Like he's your guy best friend, but he's a little older than you, so he's really protective of you. Yeah. Because older brother would just be gross for the things we're going to talk about.
No, anyway. But like, you know what I mean? Like, hey.
But I know, yeah. Yeah. But anyway, so it's kind of like, okay, whatever. She's home. Everyone's excited. Finally, her fucking birthday hits. And they're like about to go to dinner or whatever. And Jake gives her a gift. And it was, it was a pink crossbow. Because they're like, we're going to teach you how to hunt. Like, because you got to know this for the winter. If you're going to be here for the winter, you got to know how to hunt. So she gives her a pink crossbow. Noah finally gets her very own hat from their racing team and a t-shirt. And a flannel, because she's always taking his, although he's completely fine with that. But it's like, here's one of your own, so you don't have to take mine all the time. And then you're like, that's it for gifts. Let's go. And that's what you're thinking. And they're like going to walk out, and all of a sudden, Caleb just grabs her arm. Because once again, he's just a feral animal. Doesn't speak, just grunts. I mean, like, hello, we know Malachi Weiss doesn't speak, but at least he signs. Yeah. At least there's some sign language going on. You know what he's like saying. But no, Caleb doesn't care. Caleb doesn't communicate in any way, shape, or form other than the ways of a toddler. Anyway, or a feral bear. Those are his only settings. Toddler, throwing a temper tantrum, feral bear, domesticated bear. Those are his 3 settings, and he doesn't have another one. He really doesn't. Anyway, so he grabs her arm, and you're like, oh, great, which version of Caleb do we have today? Like, it's her birthday, just be nice. And he hands her this, like, leather belt that he takes out of his pocket and puts in her hands. Like, there you go. And she's, like, looking at it, and she's like, oh my god, like, did you do this for me? And he just and walks away. And she's like, thank you. Like, he makes, like, his own stuff, and Noah had to explain to her that he, like, makes this stuff. But it was cute. Like, it had, like, the cabin, and it had, like, a feather and all this different stuff. But then she's like, why is there a dream catcher? And then that's when you kind of know that he, like, really pays attention to her, because Tiernan has these horrible night terrors. So, like, that's kind of, like, proof that he actually has been paying attention to her more than she knows. But in that moment, she's kind of hoping that it was, like, a belt he just had left over, and it didn't, like, that didn't mean anything, because she didn't want to think about someone hearing her scream at night. Because Noah and Jake had never said anything about it. I mean, we know from me in their heads that they know, but they had never said anything about it. And so, but it was just so cute. That was, like, my favorite gift she got, because it was, like, really personal, and, like, you're like, wow, he has thoughts. Emotion. He has thoughts up there. He really is a thinker. Anyway, and then whatever, they go to her.
Fuck, I had no idea. I was like, yeah, whatever. Like,
yeah, like, who the fuck has this guy on here? Anyway, and then they, like, no, literally, sometimes it's like, he sees, like, it's like, squirrel! Shiny! You were mean. Push! Like, that's what it's like. You upset me, I'm gonna fling some oatmeal at your face, we'll get to that. Yeah, he did that. Like, you're just like, Looney Tunes, which I know that's saying a lot coming from me.
No, like, for real, though. Like,
but he is.
How this
He's
book
worse
ended up the way that it did, I still don't understand.
Yeah, what the hell?
I love that it did, but like,
Same.
whoa, we went through a whole ass, like, whoa.
Yeah.
So anyway, so they like all get in the truck and they go to the restaurant, whatever, and it's like the floors are sticky and like she's wearing like a nice dress and like Louis Vuitton heels and she looks way out of place.
And they're in a fucking pub.
They warned her, but she didn't.
No,
care.
they were at a steakhouse, but they were at a Colorado middle of nowhere steakhouse where like the pop's basically flat and has too much sugar in it and the fries are basically cold and the floor's sticky and if you order anything other than steak, it's not going to taste good. And anyway, but you know, she enjoys her birthday dinner because it's the first time people cared that it was her birthday. So she's like, you know what, like this is pretty snazzy, pretty great, you know? And then so she goes off and they go to this like country bar or whatever. And in Colorado they have different drinking rules. If you're 18 and someone gives you permission to drink, like your guardian gives you permission to drink, you can like drink on property or whatever. So the bartender is serving her because Jake says it's fine, whatever. And so they're like partying, dancing, whatever. And then this whole thing with Terrence and that girl with the bloody nose starts. And it's this whole thing. And then Caleb and Noah get in there and it's like, and then they get her out of there. And Jake's like, go get in the fucking truck. Like, get in the truck now. So she's running out. They're wearing these heels. She's taking them off. She's running. And the snow's starting. And it's like, holy mother of hell. What is gonna, Jesus Christ. They gotta get out of this town. So anyway, so she's running. She gets to the truck. She gets in the truck. She's sitting in the truck. All of a sudden, Jake and them start coming out. And Caleb is like running. And it's like, okay, the full bear mode. And he gets into the truck, whatever. And they're all in the truck. And the motocross guys all start coming outside and they're pissed and they're like, we're ready to fucking fuck shit up here, whatever. Well, all their bikes are parked very nicely in a row. So what does Caleb do? Pull forward, pull back, and across all of them. And then now they have to speed away because the bikes that are left are coming, but not just at the cops, and the snow has started, and we gotta get back up to the peak. So then we start driving, we're losing bikers left and right, the cops are following us, the cops get lost because of the snow, whatever. And it's like, you're only safe till April, because everyone knows where you live, but okay. And we get up there, and then everybody's like, what do we do now? Jesus Christ, whatever. And then Tiernan goes off to bed, she's like, y'all are cray-cray. So she goes to bed, whatever. And then she can't sleep. She can't stop thinking about it. And she's worried about Caleb. And, you know, because he was just defending her. But then he took it too far. For safety reasons. Anyway. So then she goes downstairs to get a cup of water. And sitting there on the couch with rifles, again, is Noah. And sitting in a chair is Caleb. Also, with rifle, ready to go. And they're just sitting there. And she's like, what you doing? And they're like, couldn't sleep. They're like, what about you? And she's like, yeah, I can't sleep, but why the fuck are you guys sitting down here with rifles in the living room? And they're like, you know, like, we're like guarding the house after what happened. And she goes, I thought no one could get up here. They're like, well, they shouldn't try to get up here, but they could. And she's like, okay. And they're like, yeah. And then she realizes, oh, they're protecting her. They're worried about her. And she's like, oh, that's so sweet.
She's fucking delusional.
Anyway, so she sits on the couch with them. Uncle Jake's upstairs in bed, where they all should be. Anyway, they're all sitting down there or whatever. And she's like, so what do you guys, like, what do you guys do? You know, for fun up here, you know, now that no women can come up here or anything. Well, you're a woman. You're the only one up there. And there's no blood connection. So start to worry. Anyway, and then they're all sitting there, whatever, and he goes, this is what we do for fun. And then he puts on this porno on the TV. They're all just sitting there. It's like, you are cousins. Step cousins, but cousins, and okay, we're gonna watch it.
Watching porn with your brother.
Well, then, clearly they do this all the time because he says that's what they do for entertainment. And then all of a sudden, she can't fully see Caleb because he's got it like a high arm chair and he's like sitting like this. But she can see that his shoulder is moving. And then Noah's right next to her, so she can fully see that he's like, you know, going for it, you know. And I love how my hand's below, but you guys can tell by the shoulder movement
it's like
what I'm doing.
Perfect. That's exactly.
And Exactly, that's what's happening, right? And so she ends up grabbing a blanket herself, and she's
going at it too now.
Going at it. And then she's got her eyes closed, and she's like imagining things and like listening to the porno. And she's so into it that she doesn't realize what's going on. And then she opens her eyes, the porno's off, and the blanket has fallen off, and her tits and pussy are in line of sight. Well, actually, correction, her pussy wasn't, but you could see that her hand was down her little shorts. They were like, oh, well, obviously you know what she's doing. And the blanket's no longer on her, and Caleb is now standing, staring at her. And so Caleb's just standing there staring at her. Noah's still sitting next to her. And they're just like, where is this going? And then they're like, pull your shorts down for us, baby. So she does. And then they're like, keep going. So she does. And then, like, Caleb's, like, there, and he's, like, he starts, like, petting her weirdly. And then Noah's, like, jacking it off again. And then, like, Noah goes to get on top or whatever, and all of a sudden Jake walks in, and you're like, oh, it's Uncle Jake now. He'll stop this. So she, like, immediately, like, freaks out, like, covers herself back up again, whatever. He sends the boys to bed, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? Go to bed. And he's like, not you, Tiernan. And you're like, oh, no. And you think that,
she's
know,
gonna
maybe
get in trouble.
gonna get a warning, like, hey, like, you know, these two are gonna be like this all winter. Just stay away. Don't do anything crazy. No. He's like, you never had a spanking in your life, have you? And whatever, blah, blah, blah. Well, he takes her and he bends her over his knee. And he just, until she's like basically ready to burst, and then he's like, I can't do this, and sends her off to bed, and you're just like, you basically did. Just continue on. Like at this point.
Yeah.
Because he wasn't even spanking her with her, like,
yeah, no.
Like, her ass was there. It was just, wow. It was just like, why don't we just keep going with it? But okay. And then it's like, okay, cool. We're all going to go to bed.
Please.
Well, that doesn't, like, you know, and then it doesn't take very long for all of a sudden she's fucking Jake, and we're like, okay, I see where this is going. Kind of. And then it gets weird. Okay? And I know you're wondering, Kylie, how does it get weirder than this? Well, because you could be in his head. That's how it gets weirder. So you're in Jake's head, and it's like 1 minute, and he's like, they're like working on the house or whatever they're doing. He's thinking of her as his like step niece, and everything's cool and dandy.
I need to take care of her. And
well,
then it's
the
like,
next
I
thing
need
you
to
know,
take care of her.
Well, no, it's worse than that. See, he had a first love, Maria, and well, sometimes he thinks Tiernan kind of looks like her, and he'll be like, "Oh yeah, her ass. Yeah, it just reminds me of." And I'm like, 2 seconds ago, we're like protecting her, and like we need to raise her, and now she looks like my first love from when I was a teenager. Okay. So then they're fucking, and they're fucking in the shower, and she sees this tattoo dedicated to her, and he kind of tells her about it, and you learn, oh, that's why he hates her dad or whatever, and it led to the girl actually herself, rest in peace, and because of what they did to her and whatever, and you know, he's very distraught, and that's how he ended up in the middle of nowhere, Colorado, because like I said, you can't, it's screw loose. And they're in the shower, and this is where it gets weird. And I know you're asking, Kylie, how does it get any weirder than what you've already said? Well, it does, because now they're in the shower, fucking, and she's like, pretend I'm her. You know, like, one last goodbye, fuck. Pretend I'm her. Like, she's like begging him to say her name, whatever. Just close your eyes and pretend that I'm her, and, you know, like, say your goodbyes. And then, you know, he does it for like a hot sec, and then he's like, open your eyes, Tiernan, and like, I don't, like I've already said goodbye and I want to be here in the moment with you. And you're just like, okay, okay, yep, that's normal. And then this just continues on, for days at a time. And then the boys are aware that she's up there sleeping in their dad's bed, but they're both into her. So then they're like annoyed by it. And it's this whole thing. And there was it's just, Caleb's now being like, ugh, every time he sees her, like, like a bear. And Noah's like talking to her like a friend, but at the same time, he's like, my dad? Why my father? And then there's, Jake. It's like, boys, back away. She's mine, and I know she's your age, and it would make more sense for her to be with one of you, but she's mine. And it's just like, and Tiernan's just there, like, this is all normal. Normal people do these things. And I'm just like, oh my god.
Oh, this poor girl wanted was a family, and look at the fuck she got.
Oh, she got
she
one.
got a family, all right.
I got something.
Just too close.
Yeah.
Anyway, so then they need meat. And no, not the type of meat that Tiernan's been getting. They need meat you can eat and swallow and everything, and you know what I mean? Like actually chew it and swallow it. Okay. Because I know when I said swallow, you were just imagining that you can swallow other meat. Anyhoodle. So Jake has to go off into the woods. And this is another weird moment because they're talking about him going to the woods and they have this cabin and that's where Caleb typically would disappear to and whatever. And you're kind of like, okay, but Caleb's not going. And Jake's going. Caleb usually would go with him, but he's not going with him. And then Tiernan's like, I wish I could go with you. I don't want to be here alone with them. And Jake's like, I know, but you won't be very comfortable up there. It's cold, and there's
I don't want to have to worry
do.
about you.
Like, oh, and by the way, the first time they had sex, I do want to talk about this real quick. It was, they were teaching her how to hunt for this first time. She had a full mental breakdown. He's acting like her father would, and then the next thing you know, he's sending the boys away in one truck so that he can fuck her in his truck before they go back home. Just had to throw that out there because that's normal. Anyway, so he's like, you won't be comfortable there, or like blah blah blah. And she goes, but I don't want to be here with them. And he's like, you'll be fine. They'll tell you. And then it's just like, okay, like weird shit. And she said, I could keep you company up there. And he's like, I know, but then I wouldn't get any hunting done. Ha 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 ha. He's just like, okay, Gracie. Sure. So then Jake goes off into the snow and the snowmobile, whatever, and she's stuck there with the boys. And she's like, oh, I hope he gets there safe. And Noah's like, don't worry. He's been doing this our whole lives. He'll be fine. Then Caleb's just like, and, walks away, does his thing. And, whatever. And, they go through their night, any normal, typical, regular old night until it's not.
I was gonna say, really?
And they're having
a threesome. If I can't have the dad, I guess I'll take both sons.
So then she fucks them both of them.
Together at the same time.
Yeah, a lot of, what's going on there. But the reason they fucked her is completely normal. So she was having one of her nightmares, and it woke Noah up because they're on high alert because her dad's not there or whatever. And so Caleb just randomly starts walking down the stairs, and Noah's like, do you know what's happening? And Caleb obviously says nothing. And he's like, ugh. And he walks in there, and he's half asleep. He's like, ugh. And walks over to the bed. He moves the covers back, gets into bed with her, and he's like, and Noah's like, does this happen often? And Caleb's like, and it's just like, how is this normal? None of this is normal.
No.
And then And then it gets worse. Yet they haven't fucked her yet, okay? So she had a nightmare. Caleb gets into bed with her, whatever. Noah's like, what the fuck's going on? Because he's somewhat normal. And then they realize the barn outside is on fire. And they're like, get up, the barn's on fire. And they all go running outside and they're dealing with the animals and it's a whole thing.
This was
and
sad.
It's like this crazy shit and you're like, what's going on, whatever, and you're like trying to save all the animals that are in the barn. And they did.
Sad.
No animals were harmed.
No, but still, they had to like shoo the horses away and like they lost.
They got all their horses and everything back.
Eventually.
But in that moment, you're like, oh God.
I was so scared.
Yeah. So they're like getting all the horses out, whatever. And she goes in to get one of the last horses that was scared or whatever. And this beam like falls down and she ends up like tearing up her arm pretty badly. So they all go back in the house. After like they've like the fire's dealt with, everything's fine. They're in the house now. Like the animals have all been secured.
The whole time that fire was happening, I was like, Jake's gonna come back and lose his shit.
You're like, he's gonna lose it. But anyway, they did get all the animals secured that night, like, because they knew they would die out in the winter.
But they
so
lost
they get them all secured.
Some food or something.
Well, no, they just lost access to the barn, which she had like set up all these like new chicken coops and everything. So now she did all those DIY projects that have been ruined and lost in the fire.
Yeah.
But nobody died, no animals died, and they got them all safely secured before they went back into the house. And then they get back in there, and they're looking at their arm, and they're like, fuck. We can't get her to a hospital. She's gonna bleed out. So then Dr. Caleb comes in. And he's like, got his first aid kit. He's like, and she's like yanking her arm away, like, what the fuck are you gonna do to my arm? He's like, and he's like, it's like Frankenstein or some shit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he starts just sewing her arm up. She's like, ow, like, stop. And then the boys just start kissing her to distract her as they're stitching her up. And then that leads to them going up to Caleb's room because Caleb picks her up. Noah follows. They all three go up to Caleb's room and then they all fuck. And that's how that happened. Because that's normal. And then for that night, whatever, they all fuck a few times. Then they all fall asleep together, whatever. She wakes up the next morning, she's the only one in bed. They think that they're going to be able to deal with this barn thing on their own. They get it sorted before Jake comes back, so he isn't as mad. Well, Jake came back early because he got stuck in the storm. So he comes home, he's like, what the fuck happened to my barn? Like, I don't know, there was fire. Like, it wasn't us. We didn't set it on fire. It was the middle of the night. You're lucky we were awake and caught it. And he goes, oh, what were you doing awake? And it's like, nothing. You know? Nothing. No one was sneaking into anyone's room or anything.
Not at all. Why would anybody do such a thing?
Anyway, and then there was this whole thing where, like, Tiernan thought her underwear was missing, so she starts checking, like, Noah's room, it's not there. She checks Jake's room, it's not there, because, like, they have been known to take her underwear in these moments. Mm-hmm. But then all of her underwear is, like, missing. She goes, where the fuck is my underwear?
Like, all.
Yeah. So she texts everywhere, and she finally goes up to Kayla's room. She's, like, looking for her underwear. And she used to tie her hair up only with, like, silk ribbons, because that's what her mom did. And she finds her silk ribbon in Caleb's pillowcase. And even sleeping it with it there. So she takes it and puts it back in her hair. And then, you know, they're going on about their day, whatever, and she decides that Christmas is coming, so I'm going to make something for Christmas. She goes outside, she wants to cut these branches, well, she can't reach them. Caleb comes, he starts helping her, and they're like, wow, good job. Such a domesticated bear. He's doing so good. Good job, sweetie. You're doing amazing. You know, like that thing. Anyway, and they, you know, cut all the things they need to cut or whatever. And then he goes back to feral bear Caleb and, like, takes her into this other barn they have where there's this old car in the back, and then he fucks her, and then he steals the ribbon back. It's basically like a mind motion, like, this is my ribbon. And then Noah was looking for them the whole time, and Noah's kind of like, the fuck are you two doing? Because Noah wants her, but it's becoming, like, kind of obvious that it's more of a Caleb and her thing than her and Noah. Well, she still got Jake.
She never
alone with Noah.
Yeah,
no. She slept in Noah's bed once, but as, like, they were already friends, they'd already established this at this point. Anyway, so then it's kind of like, okay, like, what the fuck's going on? And so, whatever. Well, she continues fucking Jake, because Jake's unaware that she slept with his son. Anyway, they find out it's this whole debacle. And then morning comes on one day after Caleb caught her coming out of his dad's room. And he's not happy about it at all. And so he takes the oatmeal she made.
He deals with it
like a toddler.
Really, really, really maturely. Like a really, really mature person who's really dealt with their emotions, who is so great at communicating, and he expresses himself so well. And I was so proud of him in this moment.
Yep. Pretend this is a spoon, okay? And there's oatmeal on the spoon, okay? This is what he does. Right at her face. And then she obviously gets upset, so then he just flips the whole table and all of everything everywhere. And he made sure milk spilled all over her crotch area. And then walked away because that's how our mature boy acts. Oh yeah.
Dribble. There you go.
Yeah, no, I got it in the hole. Better than most men are at that. Anyway.
Oh god.
Anyway, so then it's kind of like Jake's kind of like, okay, like he likes you, and she's like, well, he could talk, like communicate better than he does.
Right,
like,
yeah.
Communicate better, man. Like
it's literally like you're in elementary school and the boy has a crush on you and he's picky on you and pulling your hair.
Yeah. And then so it's kind of like, okay, what the fuck's going on, right? And then
we're like 80% of the way, by the way, in this fucking book.
Yeah. And so she ends up having a conversation with Noah, and Noah explains what happened to Caleb and why he's mute.
It's really sad.
And it's really sad, and it has to do with why their mother's not around. And she left Caleb in a car with all the windows up while she went into this random dude's house, didn't come out for days, and Caleb wasn't taken out of the car. Caleb was stuck in the car for 4 days, and at the beginning of it, he screamed and, like, screamed for help, and when no one came, he just sat there silently in his own, like, fecal matter, like, dying, and then his dad finally found him. And like took him home, whatever, and their mom's in jail for this, but that's why he stopped talking. Cause he's like, no one listened to him in that moment, you know. So then
traumatized him. She's so like, fucking bad.
She's like sad for him, but she's like, he still like doesn't need to be such a jerk like all the time. Yeah. Like that doesn't mean he needs to fling, things at my face. Like, there's other ways to communicate. And Jake even told her, like, I tried sign language with him. Like, he just doesn't want to communicate at all.
Yeah.
And she's like, but, like, even your emotions can be communicated better than just, flicking things or going, like, yeah. No. Like, there's other ways to
He could, like, give me a hug.
Yeah. Like, anything,
Smile.
Anything would be better than what he does. And so she... like, whatever, they go to bed that night. She has another nightmare, and you're in Caleb's head, but you're not really in Caleb's head, and it's like,
it's
weird. It's third person, but it's third person, but you can tell you're in Caleb's head because of the thoughts that are going on.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like you're in third person because he hasn't spoken yet, so it would be weird to put you in his head. So then you're kind of in his head, not really in his head.
Like a fly on the wall with him.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so he goes down and he's like holding her and like trying to calm her down, and then he realizes, you know what, I'm sick of doing this, like blah blah blah, because she doesn't care about me, clearly. Like she's screaming my dad, I can't trust her. And it's like, no, you can, but you don't communicate. So she's like, and he's like, she's just like every other woman, like blah, blah, like every other woman like in my life, like I thought I could trust her, like maybe I can't, like. So then he decides, I'm gonna wake her up and fuck her. That's what we're gonna do. So then he is, but he's like angry, so he's doing it too hard, and she's like, ow, Caleb, stop. Ow, Caleb, stop. And he's like in feral bear mode where he has nothing going on up there. And she's screaming, ow, Caleb, stop, and like hitting him. She finally gets him away from her, and she runs out of the room and locks herself in Noah's room. And then she's like crying. No, she doesn't really want to talk about it to Noah, but Noah just like lets her like lie there or whatever. And then finally she's like, okay, like I'm gonna go out. And she goes to go to the bathroom. And in the bathroom, sitting on the edge of the bathtub, is Caleb. And like he looks really upset, and his hands are kind of bloody. She's like, what the hell? So there's something you need to know about Tiernan. She's been painting all of these cabinets and everything. She says they remind her of like Beauty and the Beast, if that helps, like with the era of like what these look like. And she's like repainting them to look like more like kind of refurbish them. And it's been a huge project of hers and like how she spends her time, and she really enjoys it, and she put a lot of work into these. Anyway, so she's sitting there and she's trying to talk to him, and he's like kind of like acting like I'm so sorry, and he's like trying to like, like go in. She's like putting her hand on his face and he's like leaning into it like a dog. And then she like finally wrestles out what's in his hand, and it's a piece of her dresser that she had repainted. And she'd done multiple different projects, but this was the first one she'd done. And she's looking at him. She's like, what the fuck, Caleb? And she goes running downstairs to the garage. Caleb follows her. And outside, in a barrel, is her dresser, burning, smashed to pieces.
Felt so bad for
and
her.
Burning. And she's like, this is all like I had. Like, this is where I put all of my emotions to deal with what I was going through with my parents. Like, what the fuck? And she kind of turns around and she goes, you think you can fucking break me? You think you can do this to me? You think that, like, whatever, that I care about these things? She's like, I've never cared about anything or anyone. No one ever cared about me. I don't need to care about anyone back. And she takes a metal pole and she starts breaking all of her other shit. And Caleb's just standing there. And she's like crying and screaming. She goes, you can't fucking hurt me if I hurt myself first, and fuck you. Like, he's like fucked up bad. And you're kind of like, fuck you, Caleb. Like, what the fuck, man?
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
are you
why?
joking?
Why?
I hated that.
Because that's all she had. Like, she's like, that's really all she really had. And she hadn't done anything to him. If he expressed his emotions differently, he doesn't even have to talk to communicate. He can just express his emotions differently. She would understand that he really had true feelings for her, and she would have let Jake and Noah both just go. And that was, she never would have, because she had feelings for Caleb, which is why this hurts so much. And she's like, what the? So she's smashing her bookcases and stuff. Well, obviously that's loud. So Jake and Noah come running down. They're like, what the fuck's going on? They're trying to calm her down. She's screaming. She's like, fuck this place. Fuck all of you. Like, she's losing it. And finally they calm her down enough that she drops it. And Caleb kind of looks at her. And he does this. And then he leaves. Oh, wait, no, I'm sorry. I was thinking, so when I first read it, I'm like, oh, he put his hand to his chest. I know a little bit of sign language. He put his hand to his chest. I'm like, oh, he's gonna say I'm sorry. But he goes like this.
Yeah.
And leaves. Yeah. And you're like, and I'm
what
like, that's not I'm sorry. And I knew what it was, but but it's not said in that moment what it is. So you kind of have to wait for one of the guys to say it. And it takes them like a day and a half to say what it meant. But they're like, he has feelings for you. Well, because in that moment, it wasn't the time to try to deal with her. Because she's like done. She doesn't care that he's taken off into the snow, into the middle. She's like, she could care less right now. And no one, them, they can't go follow him because A, they have to stay there with her, and B, like,
they know
he does this all the time. Yeah. Anyway, so and this happened just before Christmas. So Christmas hasn't even happened yet.
Yeah, it's been a long month.
Yeah. Anyway, so then she ends up going and she ends up talking to Noah the next day or whatever, and he explained to her, and he's like, or no, it wasn't Noah, it was Jake, because Noah never learned sign language because Caleb refused to use it, so there's no point.
So
Caleb
Jake only knew some.
Jake remembered some from when he had tried to teach Caleb. And he's like, he really likes you. I know he doesn't express his emotions properly, and he really only knows two, and whenever he's upset about anything, he's very quickly turns to anger, and that's what he does. And he's like, I know it's not right, but that's how he is. And he's like, and he was hurt. And she's like, what the fuck did I do to hurt him? I don't understand. And he's like he was upset that you were with me and Noah, and he just wanted you to himself. She goes, yeah, how do you know that? He doesn't fucking speak. And he goes, this means mine. He was saying, you're mine, you're his. And she kind of had to sit with that. Well, no, Caleb's gone till February. And And then, like, literally you turn the chapter and you're like, it's February?
Yeah.
And he's still gone? Like, uh-oh. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. So then now she's, like, actually starting to panic, and she realizes she does kind
starts
of
to
miss
panic
him.
3 months later. No, she panics before that. But
Well,
you
no,
don't
they
see
were
it.
panic. Yeah, but like she was still mad at him for like the entire month of January. Like fuck you. Then February hits. Now she's starting to get okay. Why isn't he back yet? Now she's a little worried. But like he can handle himself out there. But she's more. She was more worried that because at this point she's like fuck this. I'm leaving when the snow melts. So she's like, am I ever going to see him again? Is he going to come back before the snow melts? That was more her worry.
Yeah.
Anyway, so she like ends up going up to his room or something to look for something, and she ends up opening all the books he has in there, and they're like messages, and some of them are about her. So she gets a little bit more of an insight.
Yeah. It's like he like didn't he like annotate books with like this reminds me of her and stuff?
No, he would write in the beginning of
I'm
books, and he'd been
thinking of
doing it since he was a kid, and sometimes he would write about her. You're thinking about a different book. Yeah. Or was it a show?
No, it's a
They
book.
annotated books and handed them back to each other, and then oh, it's Thatcher and Lyra.
Yeah. No, there's
Yeah,
also
Lyra would.
there's also another book I'm thinking of, but anyways, doesn't matter.
Anyway, yeah. And so she like read some of these, and then she goes to Noah and she's like, we need to like go get your brother. And he's like, there's gonna be a huge storm tonight. And she's like, now we really need to go get your brother. He goes, no, he'll be fine. We could get trapped. This is bad. And she goes, well, I'm going with or without you. And he goes, well, fuck. Fine, I'm going. But she's taking Noah because she can't take Jake because Jake would never let her go. But Noah hates it there. Noah is not experienced in this, and Noah is not the one that goes to the hunting cabin. He usually stays home when they go. He hasn't been there since he was a kid.
Yeah.
So they're going based off of a little note she found that said something about a river. And they're going with it. And you're just like,
what the fuck?
Good luck.
And they take off whenever it's fine at first. Then this huge snowstorm hits, and you're like, oh, for sakes. And then they find this cave, and the cave leads to a river, and they're like, oh, there's the cabin. I promise you it was a lot more complicated than that.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then they finally get there, and you're like, oh, cool, they're alive. And then Caleb's not there, and you're like, oh, for fuck's sakes, where's Caleb? Because now it's a snowstorm, and I'm a little worried.
And you're at like the end of the book.
Yeah, so he
like,
could
where
be dead.
Is this man?
Yeah.
Like, you're like, he could be dead. Technically, she could end up with someone else, or she could end up alone. This could just be a moment.
Dead.
So was I. I was worried something had happened to him, and we were gonna find his bones. Anyway, so the next morning, Noah's like, we should sit here and wait until like it warms up a little bit. And she goes, fuck that, we're going to look for your brother. And he goes, oh, what? So we can end up dead too? Like, I love my brother, but if we end up dead, it's not really helping anybody. Like, you know, whatever. And she's like, fine. So, like, Noah goes out to pee, and she kind of just goes out to get some air. And while she's getting air, she sees this deer go by. And then in the bushes, so there's her on the porch, deer, and then in the bushes is Caleb, like this. In the fucking bush. And then he's like training it on the deer as the deer goes, and then he spots her, and he kind of just stops, and he stares at her, and she's staring at him, and they're not moving. And then he lowers the gun, and he's like,
hello.
And then he gets up finally, and I'm like, wow, we've been staring at each other a long time. Whatever. And then they like run to each other, and it's like, oh, you know the fancy running they do in fairy tales, and then it's like, oh, Caleb. And then I would say, oh, Tiernan, but he doesn't speak, so it's like, oh, Caleb. You know, kind of vibe. And poor Noah's still out trying to find something for them for breakfast, so he's down at the river. So then they go in and they just fuck, and they leave him locked out, and they're mid-fuck. And Noah's like, I take it you found Caleb. Can you please let me in? It's cold out here, guys. This is not funny. I would like to come in now. And then it like cuts to the middle of the night because they haven't been able to go home yet. They have to like wait till the next day or whatever. And Noah's sleeping in one bed, and her and Caleb are sleeping in another, and Caleb keeps trying to fuck her, and she's like, no, we can't do this with your brother right there. Like, it's weird. And he's kind of looking at her and she goes, I know we've done it before. And you're thinking, oh, they had a threesome before, but he's possessive now, so no. And she's like, Jesus, you're like insatiable. We did it earlier tonight. And they're like, oh, no, you meant you did it today with him sleeping right there. Even though he also has feelings for you. And there's a chance he would have jumped on top. Just move on. Let's just move on. Yeah. You're just like,
I just can't. I can't. This is a fucking trip.
It's all a trip and a half. And then they're like happily together for the rest of winter and all is well. And
Caleb learns how to talk.
Well, no, she starts reading to Caleb. So actually that night he's like fine, like he couldn't sleep, so he handed her a book he'd been reading, and so she started reading to him. And that was really cute, or whatever. And then they go back to the house, and all is well, and then the snow starts smelling, and her mom's old assistant is going to come in town and visit. And now that her and Caleb are together, she's not planning on leaving until, like, she's trying to figure out what she's doing for college and everything right now. But she wouldn't be leaving until August when she has to leave for school. So her mom's assistant's just coming to visit, see her, because she hasn't really seen her since the funeral. And so she's getting the house ready, everything, like, doing all this stuff, whatever. And she ends up getting into this fight with Caleb. And she's like, why can't you just like communicate with me, actually have a conversation with me? Because she was sick and tired of him just like always being like so, like no my way or nothing. Yeah. And so they end up getting into this huge fight, and it's just kind of like awkward or whatever. And she does this photo shoot with Noah for this like campaign or whatever, and Caleb's kind of just standing there and like
or something, or like promo stuff for their
and Caleb's kind of just standing there and he's like really moody and like whatever, and anyway, and then she's like like whatever, and then the boys all go into town because they have to go deal with the fact of the cops and everything because of what happened where the snow melted, and now Terrence is trying to cause problems. So whatever, they all leave, and they leave her there by herself. And, Mariah is supposed to arrive that night, whatever, get her from the airport later tonight. The boys should be back by then. Whatever. Well, she's by herself, and she hears this weird sound coming from the barn that they've just rebuilt. And the horses are freaking out, and the dogs are freaking out. And she's like, what the fuck? So she goes and checks it out. Well, the barn didn't just burn down for no reason. Terrence burned it down. And now Terrence is there for her because he knows that she's rich and she has money, and he lost his sponsor because of Caleb running over all those bikes, and he wants her to be his new sponsor. But he's like, I'll be your like fuck toy, like, you can just fuck me whenever you want. Like, I won't be faithful to you, but like, I'll be at your beck and call, do whatever you want, but like, you're going to sponsor me. And I'm not leaving here until that's the case. And she ends up having to run from him. He's got buddies with him. He's not alone. Mm-hmm. And it ends up being this huge thing where by the end of it, she's scared all the boys off, and she's in Caleb's room. The fucking crossbow. And she
learned how to hunt.
She learned how to hunt. She hunted Terrence. Anyway, so she's like sitting there like freaking out or whatever. And then she like has her bag packed and everything like ready to go. And then Jake and them get home. And they're like, what the fuck's going on? Like, what's happening? And she ends up, I can't remember, she leaves a note for Caleb. Okay, so actually prior to finding out about Terrence, she had left this note for Caleb because she was so upset with him. She was planning on leaving to go get Mariah and not going to stay at a hotel. Going to stay in a hotel and possibly not coming back because he pissed her off that much and she was done, and she wanted to see that he actually cared about her. So she leaves a note for him in his room. But then everything like goes down, everything happens, and then the cops show up, whatever, and they're like dealing with all that, and then she kind of gets into it with Caleb again, and he takes off and he heads for the cabin. And then she's like, fuck this shit. And she takes off, and Mariah shows up mid during this. She's like, let's go, we're going. She goes, what? What's going on? Like, what's happening? Why are the cops here? Like, are you okay? And she's like, I'm fine, let's go. So she gets in the car. Jake's like begging her not to go. Noah's just standing there all depressedly, and you're just like, Caleb's gone, and you're just like, whoa.
We're at 99%.
There's correction, we're at exactly 92%. Because I remember a certain someone has a transformation at 94. Anyway, so you're like, okay, like, what the hell is going on? So she leaves. She fucks off back to California. She doesn't stay in contact with Jake. She doesn't stay in contact with Noah. Obviously, no one's... Well, she's kind of in contact with Noah.
Jake and Mariah talk.
Yes, because he still talks to... Well, she didn't completely cut Jake and Noah off, but it's more like they want her to come back, so every time that's the conversation topic, she's ignoring them. She doesn't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
But Jake's been like up Mariah's ass.
I think she
just
talks
like
to Noah more of like how he wants to leave and what he wants to do.
Not really, because what she doesn't know is that Noah left when she did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So actually, she wasn't talking to Noah. That's why she didn't know. Right. Anyway, so but Jake's up Mariah's ass, just kind of like Mariah was up his ass, and like, you know, trying to like keep tabs on what's going on. So she's at the beach one day and it's raining, and she's just thinking about them, and like she's upset about it or whatever. But she's like, I'm never going back to Caleb unless he talks to me.
Yeah.
Like physically talks, writes it down, sign language. I don't care. Talk to me. Because I already had a relationship with my parents where nobody spoke to me and I was constantly ignored. And I know that he loves me. I know he cares, unlike them. But it's still the same situation where I'm talking and no one's talking back.
Yeah.
I can't have a conversation with someone who's not speaking to me.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's
so...
fucking fair.
Which is the life she already grew up in, and she's not doing it again.
Yeah.
And so she's like, not going back, whatever. And she's just sitting there. She's all sulky. And lo and behold, Noah's there. And he sits next to her and she goes, Noah, what the fuck? And he's like, actually, I've been in California this whole time. Ever since you came back, I came back. And I'm like working with this company, JT Racing. We'll talk about them one day. But if you know Bully by Penelope Douglas or the Falls Boys, you know what we're talking about.
It's the Fall Away
series. Yeah. But anyway, you know what we're talking about. But anyway, so Noah is obviously doing that. But he's like staying in a hotel and she's like, why aren't you staying with me? And he goes, I think I needed space from the whole situation as much as you did.
Yeah.
And Noah doesn't hold it against her, and they're still great friends. And they never really had a falling out because of her picking Caleb. I think Noah understood.
I was gonna say, yeah.
I think Noah understood why. I mean, he wanted to be, but I think he understood that he loved her, but not necessarily like that. So he was able to like let it go.
He loved her as a person and liked fucking her.
She was the first girl he could see himself with, but he realized she's not the girl that he was supposed to end up with, so it never caused a problem in their relationship that she didn't pick him.
Noah's still single.
Noah will get a book, I know it. Like, I know it in my bones. The Noah will get a book, so it's okay. But, anyway.
I have an idea of who we'd be with, but you'd have to read the other books.
We will, and we'll talk about them. We'll get there one day, guys.
They're so
good. But anyway, so she's like talking to Noah, whatever. And so Noah goes back to his hotel, but he's planning on like moving into her California home. And when he's in California, he'll live with her. And then he still will go back to Colorado and stuff. And it's a traveling team, so he won't always be there, but at least she'll have someone sometimes. Was kind of the thought process.
Well, she's eating fucking ramen noodles every night for dinner.
Yeah. So she goes back. Well, Mariah's been staying with her the whole time because she refuses to leave her alone. So she goes back to the house. And Jake and Mariah are in the kitchen screaming at each other. And she's like, Jake's here? And she's like, you know what? I'm just going to let them do their whatever thing this is tonight. And I'm going to go to bed and I'll deal with this tomorrow. So she goes to go up to bed. And she looks out her window. And there's a tire swing where the tire swing used to be. But this one's a little smaller. It's not as big. So you can tell, like, it's new. Like, she didn't imagine Mariah cutting it down.
Yeah.
Like, it's different. And she's like, who hung that back up? Like, Mariah was so pissed when she cut it down. Like, I couldn't see her doing it. Like, why is that there? Like, she's so confused. And then, so she goes outside to go check it out. And she's like outside, like, kind of looking at it. And all of a sudden, fucking weird ass shit. The bear, Caleb, walks out from behind the tree and holds the tire swing. Now he's giving gorilla, just so you know, like gorillas in the zoo with their tire swings. Yeah. Anyway, and he's holding it, and he's like, you know, whatever. And so she gets on, and she's like, kind of like, the fuck is going on? She's like, did you do this? And he responds.
I know he talks.
He responds, and then so she's like talking to me. She's like, what the hell? Like, when did you like what? And he goes, when I left, I went up to the cabin and I taught, or when I left, I'd seen your note before I left. And I knew that I need to learn, so I went to the cabin, and that book that you were reading to me, I started from the beginning and read it out loud every day until he could
talk again.
And anyway, so he like can talk to her now, and they're all like, you know, everything's fine and dandy now because you can talk now. And it's just like, whatever. And then the epilogue happens. He literally only speaks for like that much of the last chapter. Then the epilogue, and you're in his head for the first and only time.
Yep.
Truly in his head. And they have a son named Griffin, and it's so cute. And they now own the Colorado home, and their dad has one like more in town or whatever. Why are you shaking your head?
They bought a lot.
The dad
down.
is like
right, they're living in
out
it,
of California.
So their dad is traveling back and forth between California and here.
They're
because
building
he still
a
comes
house
back
down.
to California. Yeah, and they're staying in the Colorado house with Jake for now. And then they're moving a little bit down on another plot of land, but it's still kind of connected. Like, they're in the same area. When they get snowed in, they'll get snowed in together.
It's a little lower.
But Jake is no longer single, and there's a reason he's traveling back and forth to California. It's not just for work. And that's because he's now with Mariah, and no one's surprised.
No.
It just makes sense. They just fought so much that there's no other possibility there. Then there's Noah. Noah's still single. Literally, you're in the epilogue, and the epilogue starts, and you're like figuring out where everybody is. And Tiernan and Caleb were having sex in their tent. Then they finish, and they're like, "Okay, you need to go take care of. This is your turn to feed him." And you're like not really sure exactly what's going on. And then so we go over to Noah's tent, and Noah's in the tent with a baby, just a baby, and it's Caleb and Tiernan's baby. He's like, "Thanks for watching, man." He goes, "Hey, you have a buddy. Don't take my buddy." And Caleb's like, "It's my son. Go have your own." He goes, like, "Fuck you, basically, man. Like, Jesus." So then he takes his son, and then we go and we see Jake, and we find out he's with Mariah. And everyone's all happily ever after, except for Noah, but Noah will be. He better have one. And that's how the book ends. And now you guys get to hear my rendition of what I think Credence is. So my theory is that
not a theory.
Not my theory. That's incorrect. I don't know why we were calling it a theory. This is what I think Credence is, okay? Once upon a time, there was a Disney movie that was originally a Brothers Grimm story. That version ended much differently. Now, it is a Disney animated movie with multiple sequels, and then it was turned into a live action where Emma Watson, also known as Hermione Granger, played a specific Disney princess. What was that princess's name?
Belle.
What was the movie?
Beauty and the Beast.
Cool. Remember how I said that she said the dressers reminded her of Beauty and the Beast? That's when this whole thing started in my head, okay? She's Beauty. He's Beast.
The Beast.
Now, so if you've seen the movie, you know, something happens with her father. It leads her to the Beast Castle where she's entrapped in a snowstorm. Well, correction, he trapped her there, but it was during a snowstorm. Okay? And so she's stuck there with the Beast. I can see it. And a Clock, who thinks he knows more than everyone else and is kind of the leader of the pack, which is Jake. He's Clogsworth. And then the idiot Candle, who's always fucking around with this one dust feather person, and is kind of like the F-boy of the castle. And that would be Noah, who's Lumiere. And obviously Caleb is the Beast. You see where I'm going with this?
Mm-hmm.
And you know when you kind of like you're watching that movie and you're like, and then he becomes the prince and you're kind of like, you know what? I liked you better when you were the Beast. Like, I know it's weird to say when I was a little more attracted to you when you were the Beast. I know it's weird. And in any other circumstance, I would not think that, but I just, you fell in love with the Beast, and now you just last minute, the last 2 minutes of the movie, now he's a prince. And by the way, someone explain how in all the sequels, he's back to being the Beast. Can someone explain that? Anyway, they're amazing. You should watch them. Anyway, and you're kind of like, okay, cool. You're kind of like, ugh, I kind of wish you were still the Beast. That's Caleb. It takes him so long to transform into the prince. So he's the Beast for the entirety of the book. He doesn't talk. He's a bear, basically, is what he is. He just grunts and throws things and throws temper tantrums and like makes a mess. And it's like, that's the Beast. And then, Clogsworth and Lumiere like convincing Belle to stay and that, she needs to fall in love with the Beast for, everyone to be saved. And it kind of feels the same way, And then it's like, you're on a time limit in that because you're waiting for once all the petals fall, you're out of time. Well, here, once the snow melts, you're out of time. You see where the correlations are coming in? Anyway, and then, you think the Beast is dead. Or in Caleb's case, you think the Beast is just gone, into the woods forever. And you're like, okay, well, maybe it will end there. And then the Beast randomly is just lying in front of her, in this case, standing in front of her. And she kisses the Beast. And she kisses Caleb. And then he becomes a prince. And he speaks for the first time. And it's just like, yep, it's Beauty and the Beast. Credence is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and no one can tell me otherwise.
Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
Credence is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and no one can tell me otherwise. And I know that's exactly what it is, the best way to describe it. And it's also the best way to trick someone into reading it without knowing what they're going into. But no, it's literally like feels like he's literally the Beast.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What was your second theory?
Oh, and then I said something about Goldilocks and the Three Bears because that's kind of what it feels like
too
sometimes.
Hard. This bed's too soft. This one's just right. This oatmeal's too hot. This oatmeal's too cold. This oatmeal's
just right. Anyway, but I also had another one about the Little Mermaid. Sometimes it gives Little Mermaid vibes, but in this case, she's not the female. Okay, so if you've seen The Little Mermaid, you know that Ariel goes mute and can't speak for the entirety of the movie until the last 2 minutes. Because that's a thing that happens for some fucking reason in these books. Or in these love scenarios, whatever. And so basically in this scenario, Tiernan is Prince Eric, and, is like, from this different place, a much different place, whatever. And then Ariel is Caleb, the mute one who has to try to get Eric to fall in love with before the spell ends or the snow melts. But he can't talk. So it's, it's a lot harder. And then you have Sebastian, who is Jake, and you have Flounder, who is Noah, trying to help him figure this shit out. And yeah, I know it's horrible because this is a book about her sleeping with her step uncle and step cousins, but I do relate it to multiple Disney movies. It makes sense.
Yep.
Beauty and the Beast is my favorite, though. I've said it on multiple occasions. I've said it on TikTok. I said it in a YouTube video we posted. I'll say it again. It is a Beauty and the Beast retelling, and no one can convince me otherwise. And sometimes I kind of wish Caleb never learned to speak. It felt different about him when he was a bear.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my thoughts. I'm sure there's some people out there that wish they never knew any of those thoughts. But you do now. And now guarantee you'll think about it all night.
For sure. What's your favorite part? I have a few.
You go first.
Well, one, I loved what's her name? The assistant?
Mariah.
I loved when she would call and her and Jake would fucking yell on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
I loved, obviously, the birthday present. And not that I loved this part, but I felt like it was sort of like a turning point for her was when she fucking fucked with Terrence.
Mm-hmm.
But I also liked when they go to the candy store.
Yeah, I love the candy store.
But yeah, other than that, it was just all fucking. Fucking.
That's a lot of fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about you? What's your favorite part?
It's not going to be surprising, but seeing the boys with Griffin was so fucking cute. Anytime there's a baby involved is my favorite part. And also when Caleb ran over all those motorcycles.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
We didn't talk about how that girl's pregnant. Said it was his.
Spacey? Yeah, bitch is pregnant.
Yeah, but it whatever. It wasn't his. It was Terrence's, and they can go fuck off together to a whole new land of fuckedness. Yeah. My favorite part was something we didn't actually talk about, and that is when I was talking about those dressers when she was planning out how to paint on them. Caleb is kind of an artist, and he helped her out with them and showed her how to smudge the colors together. And that was a really cute moment between the two, and I really liked that. I also liked learning that he'd been going down. He'd been going downstairs and helping her with her nightmares and everything.
Holding her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I miss them. I really hope Noah gets a book.
She's made him a side character in this other series. I don't see why he wouldn't get a book.
Oh, I feel like he will, yeah.
Well,
but yeah.
I think that's it for
That's
Credence.
it. We're leaving Colorado, guys.
Mm-hmm.
See you later. Probably not. I can't think of another book based in Colorado at this moment. Not one we're going to cover anytime soon. So we're leaving Colorado.
But we'll see Noah.
Yeah.
One day.
At some point. But yeah. And
that's it.
We'll see you guys
later.
next
week.
Bye,
guys.
Oh, whatever. We'll never get it.
No.